be in a department, but they could help coordinate things in Latin American studies, Asian studies, Middle Eastern studies, and so on. This is a suggestion of a way to do the same thing, but possibly do it cheaper and better.
One of the things that's disappointed me over the years is to look at our fellow human beings that are keeping this place clean, answering the phones and such. We need a good support staff, and we have had it peeled away. I don't know what the ratio is of administrators to secretaries who have been dismissed, or bookkeepers, or custodians, but it's pretty high, I think. I think you would not find many places that would run this way. I remember Ruth literally breaking into tears one time because she was so frustrated by the fact that she didn't have someone who could help her in the office that knew what they were doing. And that wasn't putting down anybody else. But we've student assistants, for instance, in offices. Where did they go? What's the deal up in the Kennedy Center where you've got, for a while you had 2 people trying to run an archive? This has just gone on, and yet every time you turn around, there's another associate vice interim provost being hired or something on that order. You've got to have a clean place to attract students. We need to have, there on the dreaded A&S blog, which no one looks at, there's a picture of the steps somewhere on campus, and they're filthy. The papers are not picked up, and that's all the time. But I can't get mad at anybody who's making $40,000 a year and threatened with a furlough of a day. I can't get mad at that person, but I sure can get mad at somebody who suggests we're all sharing in this equally. So I, with my $400,000 annual salary, will take a 1-day furlough. Wow. And so will the person who makes $40,000. Who gets hurt the most?
I guess I'm supposed to stand. Barbara Miner, Department of Art. One of the things that I haven't seen addressed in either of these 2 plans, and it's really drilling down, is the support that I think we need in order to make those cross-disciplinary studies happen, not just for us as faculty members, but for us to lead students in that direction. And by that I mean workload issues. And support that helps us be able to reconfigure in any way our ability to do that. I know that there have been things proposed with colleagues within different disciplines, but we run aground when we try and work out the workload issue. So I would like us to figure out how that happens, or at least be cognizant of the fact that that needs to be discussed. And it may not need new money thrown at it. It may need new ways of thinking thrown at it.
Sarah, and then Mike, there's a microphone. Sarah Lundquist, Department of English. Just to address what you said, Barb, we thought in looking at the CSO report that one of the problems that seemed to be identified as a thing to fix, although it wasn't explicit in that report, was this idea that although there was a great deal of interdisciplinary endeavor taking place in the College of Arts and Sciences and between the college and other colleges, that sometimes there were administrative roadblocks to that happening, workload issues, things like that. So we took very seriously that as a problem that may or may not be solved by some kind of reorganizational structure. So if you do look at this, that is what we intended. This horizontal dean here, a new kind of dean or a new office, and we called it Associate Dean for Integrative Endeavor. And at first we had named it Integrative Research, thinking particularly of research projects that take place across disciplines, but then changed it to Endeavor for the very reason that you suggest, is that certainly we could be doing more than we already are doing, which is quite substantial in leading our students into certain kinds of integrative endeavor. So we did think, and that was the impetus behind our thinking of that horizontal dean, was that it would be very useful to have an office whose sole concern was making things like that happen in the college and between the college and the other colleges, that they would be the ones that would be paying attention. They would be the ones that would say, me in my department and my colleague in the Department of History or Art or whatever, we have this idea, we'd like to do this course, which may lead to some interesting research, but we're having trouble ironing out the workload issues. And that would be the office that would meet with whoever they needed to meet with on this vertical level in order to find some way to make that happen. So I think there was a kind of recognition in the way the subcommittee of the chairs was thinking about these deans over here, as looking at some of the cross-college wishes for ourselves, right? Things that we know that we do and that we do well, and that there are sometimes roadblocks in the way of that. So that was the one that you were talking about. When we were talking about the Associate Dean for Learning, that I think addressed some of the things that Barbara Schneider brought up, that would be an office whose main concern would be coordinating college efforts having to do with the first 2 years of people coming into the College of Arts and Sciences. Freshman comp, math, the core, what we think of as a good liberal arts education, how the college can hold on to that ideal and make it real and make it happen, and not let it be starved in favor of professional education and the other colleges and so forth. So somehow that layer, with its kind of flashlight across whatever this turns out to be, would be just a place, a locus for a certain kind of task that we all share, right, and that we all do well, but know we could do better if we had a place to talk to each other across departments or schools or whatever we end up being. So I don't know if that addresses.
Well, I was going to speak on exactly the same issues that Sarah did, so I'm glad she went first, because she'd probably, well, not probably, she's more eloquent than I am. There are two additional issues that bring up about that horizontal set of deans. The first is they would work with resources, monetary and non-monetary resources, across programs, departments, and the schools. This could be workload issues. It could be extra compensation. It could be whatever, the resources. Because that's one of the things that holds up some of the integrative endeavor that we were talking about. But it also brings up another issue. This level of coordination, if we really want to have all the stated goals, in order to reach that level of coordination, you need a single College of Arts and Sciences. You need, and forget the title executive dean, you need a dean of this college, because those vertical deans are dealing with academic issues. The horizontal deans are dealing with resources and working with